Hey everyone, I never thought I'd be writing something like this, but here I am. It's been a whirlwind of emotions, and I need to get this off my chest. Maybe it'll help someone out there who's going through something similar. Here's my story. It all started on a seemingly normal Thursday afternoon. I was doing some cleaning around the house while my wife, Emily, was out with her friends. We've been married for 10 years, and while every marriage has its ups and downs, I thought ours was solid. At least I used to. While dusting the bookshelf, I knocked over a pile of papers and saw a phone slip out from under them. It wasn't either of our regular phones, which immediately struck me as odd. Curiosity got the best of me, and I picked it up. The screen lit up with a message from someone named Jake that read, "Can't wait to see you tonight. Love you." My heart sank. My hands started to shake, and a cold sweat broke out on my forehead. I knew I shouldn't invade her privacy, but I couldn't help myself. I unlocked the phone. She'd used a pattern I'd seen her use before, and started scrolling through the messages. What I found was a series of texts and photos that made my stomach turn. It wasn't just a fling. It was a full-blown affair that had been going on for months. I felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. My mind was racing, and I had a million questions but no answers. How long had this been going on? Why didn't I notice? What did I do wrong? I couldn't think straight. All I knew was that I needed to confront her, and I needed to do it now. Emily came home a few hours later, cheerful and oblivious to the storm brewing inside me. We were supposed to have lunch together, but I couldn't wait. As soon as she walked in, I confronted her with the phone in my hand. "What the hell is this, Emily?" I demanded, my voice trembling with a mix of anger and desperation. Her face turned pale as she saw the phone and realized what I had found. For a moment she was speechless, and then the tears started flowing. She tried to grab the phone from me, but I held it out of her reach. "I can explain," she stammered, but I wasn't in the mood for explanations. "Explain what? That you've been cheating on me? That you've been lying to me for months?" "How long has this been going on, Emily?" She broke down, sobbing uncontrollably, and eventually, between sobs, she confessed. The affair had started almost a year ago. She met Jake through work, and what started as harmless flirting had escalated into something much more. She claimed she still loved me, but had felt something was missing in our relationship. I couldn't listen anymore. The woman I thought I knew, the woman I had built a life with, was a stranger. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and utterly heartbroken. I told her to pack a suitcase and leave. I couldn't bear to look at her anymore. As she packed, we didn't say a word to each other. The silence was deafening. I watched her leave, and when the door closed behind her, I collapsed on the couch, feeling like my entire world had shattered. The days that followed were a blur. I changed the locks on the house and contacted a divorce attorney. I knew the road ahead was going to be tough, but I had to protect myself. Emily's betrayal had left me questioning everything, and I couldn't let her hurt me any further. I also decided to share the evidence of her affair with her family. They had always been close, and I wanted them to know the truth before she spun any false narratives. Her parents were devastated, and her siblings were shocked. They expressed their support for me, which was a small comfort in an otherwise dark time. I felt like I was drowning in a sea of pain and betrayal. Everywhere I looked, I saw reminders of our life together. The photos on the walls, the furniture we picked out, even the bed we shared. I couldn't escape the memories, and I couldn't make sense of how things had gone so wrong. My friends and family tried to be there for me, but I pushed them away. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to relive the pain over and over again. I felt like a failure, like I wasn't good enough. How could she do this to me? What did I do to deserve this? In the midst of all this, I realized I needed help. I couldn't handle this alone. I reached out to a therapist and started attending regular sessions. It wasn't easy to open up, but slowly, I began to untangle the mess of emotions inside me. I learned that her affair wasn't my fault, that I wasn't to blame for her choices. Therapy became a lifeline. It helped me see that my worth wasn't tied to Emily's actions. I started to rediscover myself, the things I enjoyed, the hobbies I had abandoned over the years. I took up running, something I hadn't done since college. I joined a local book club and reconnected with my love for reading. These small steps were the beginning of my journey to healing. As the weeks turned into months, I began to feel more like myself again. The divorce process was grueling, but having a good lawyer made a world of difference. I focused on taking care of myself, both physically and mentally. I leaned on my support network when I needed to, and allowed myself to feel the emotions instead of burying them. I started reconnecting with old friends, people I had lost touch with over the years. It was refreshing to have conversations that didn't revolve around the divorce or the betrayal. I even made new friends through my running group and book club. Slowly, my world started to expand beyond the confines of my pain. One day, while out for a run, I realized that I was looking forward to the future again. For the first time in a long time, I felt a sense of hope. I knew I still had a lot of healing to do, but I was on the right path. The divorce was finalized, and while it was a bittersweet moment, it also marked a new beginning. I moved to a new apartment, leaving behind the house that held so many painful memories. My new place was smaller, but it felt like a fresh start, a blank canvas where I could rebuild my life. I began to focus on personal growth. I set goals for myself, both big and small. I wanted to learn new skills, travel to places I'd always dreamed of, and continue building a life that was fulfilling and meaningful. One of the most important lessons I learned through this process was the importance of self-care. I made time for activities that brought me joy and peace. I practiced mindfulness and meditation, which helped me stay grounded and present. I also continued therapy, which provided a safe space to explore my feelings and work through the lingering pain. Through it all, I discovered a strength I didn't know I had. I realized that while Emily's betrayal had been devastating, it didn't define me. I was more than her actions, more than the pain she caused. I was resilient, capable of healing and moving forward. As I write this, I'm in a much better place. I'm not saying it was easy or that the pain has completely gone away, but I've learned to live with it, to use it as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. I've found a new sense of purpose and direction, and for that, I'm grateful. To anyone out there going through something similar, know that you're not alone. It may feel like the end of the world, but it's not. There is life after betrayal, and it can be beautiful and fulfilling. Take it one day at a time, lean on your support system, and most importantly, be kind to yourself. Healing is a journey, but it's one worth taking. As I settled into my new life, I realized the importance of rebuilding from the ground up. The divorce was finalized, and the chapter of my life with Emily was officially closed. However, closing that chapter didn't mean the story was over. It meant a new one was beginning. I was determined to make this next chapter one of growth, healing, and rediscovery. I threw myself into new hobbies and interests, filling my days with activities that brought me joy and purpose. I had always loved cooking, but had never really had the time to explore it. Now, with more free time on my hands, I began experimenting in the kitchen. I found that creating new dishes was not only therapeutic, but also a way to nourish myself, body, and soul. I enrolled in a local cooking class where I met people who shared my passion for food. We would often gather on weekends for potlucks, each bringing a dish we had perfected. These gatherings became a cornerstone of my new social life. My newfound passion for running continued to be a source of strength and clarity. Each morning I would lace up my running shoes and hit the trails, feeling the rush of endorphins and the rhythm of my feet hitting the ground. Running became a metaphor for my life. Each step forward was a step away from the pain of the past. I even decided to train for a marathon, something I had always wanted to do but never had the courage to commit to. The discipline and focus required for training mirrored the inner work I was doing in therapy, pushing me to confront my limits and surpass them. One of the most significant changes I made was reconnecting with old friends. During my marriage, I had let many friendships fade, prioritizing my relationship with Emily above all else. Now, I realized how much I had missed those connections. Reaching out to friends I hadn't spoken to in years was nerve-wracking, but I was met with warmth and understanding. We picked up right where we left off, and their support was invaluable during this time. I also made a conscious effort to build new friendships. Joining different groups and clubs exposed me to a diverse array of people. My book club, for instance, became a sanctuary where I could lose myself in stories and engage in meaningful discussions. Through these interactions, I found a sense of belonging and camaraderie that I hadn't felt in a long time. It was reassuring to know that I was not alone, that there were people who cared about me and were willing to stand by my side. Therapy continued to play a crucial role in my healing journey. My therapist helped me understand the deep-seated issues that had contributed to the breakdown of my marriage. We explored my past, my insecurities, and my patterns of behavior. It was a painful process, but it was also liberating. I began to see myself more clearly, not just as a victim of Emily's betrayal, but as a complex individual with strengths and weaknesses. This self-awareness was empowering, giving me the tools to build healthier relationships in the future. One day, during a particularly insightful therapy session, my therapist suggested that I start journaling. At first, I was skeptical. Writing about my feelings seemed daunting, but I decided to give it a try. What started as a reluctant exercise quickly became a vital part of my daily routine. I poured my thoughts and emotions onto the pages, processing the pain and confusion that still lingered. Journaling helped me track my progress, celebrate small victories, and acknowledge the setbacks without judgment. As the months went by, I began to notice a shift in my mindset. I was no longer defined by the betrayal I had experienced. Instead, I was defining myself by how I responded to it. I embraced the idea that I had the power to shape my own narrative, to turn a story of heartbreak into one of resilience and growth. With this newfound perspective, I started to set bigger goals for myself. I had always dreamed of traveling, but Emily had never been much of an adventurer. Now, nothing was holding me back. I planned a solo trip to Europe, a journey that symbolized my independence and my willingness to embrace new experiences. Visiting cities like Paris, Rome, and Barcelona, I immersed myself in different cultures, tried new foods, and met incredible people from all walks of life. Each day was an adventure, a reminder that the world was vast and full of possibilities. During my travels, I had a lot of time to reflect on my life and my future. One evening, sitting on a terrace overlooking the Tuscan countryside, I had a profound realization. Emily's betrayal had shattered my world, but it had also forced me to rebuild it. In doing so, I discovered strengths I didn't know I had, and passions I hadn't yet explored. I realized that my journey wasn't just about recovering from a broken marriage. It was about rediscovering myself and embracing the endless possibilities that lay ahead. When I returned home, I felt rejuvenated and inspired. I decided to take my career in a new direction. I had always worked in a corporate job that, while stable, didn't ignite my passion. My travels and experiences had opened my eyes to the importance of following one's dreams. I took a leap of faith and started my own business, combining my love for cooking with my entrepreneurial spirit. It was a risk, but I believed in myself and my vision. Starting a business from scratch was challenging, but it was also incredibly rewarding. I poured my heart and soul into every aspect, from developing the menu to designing the space. The support from my friends, family, and new community was overwhelming. They believed in me, and that belief fueled my determination. My business quickly gained traction, and I found a sense of fulfillment and purpose that I had never experienced before. Through all these changes, I continued to prioritize my mental and emotional well-being. I attended regular therapy sessions, practiced mindfulness, and stayed active. I also made a point to give back to others. I volunteered at local shelters and participated in community events, finding that helping others was a powerful way to heal my own wounds. It reminded me that, despite the pain I had endured, I had the capacity to make a positive impact on the world. One of the most significant milestones in my journey was learning to trust again. The betrayal I had experienced left deep scars, and the idea of opening my heart to someone new was terrifying. But I knew that closing myself off from love wasn't the answer. I had to take things slowly, to be patient with myself and the process. I started dating again, approaching it with an open mind and a cautious heart. It wasn't easy, and there were times when the fear of getting hurt again threatened to hold me back. But each date, each new connection, was a step towards healing. I learned to communicate openly and honestly, to express my needs and boundaries. It was a learning curve, but it was also a testament to my growth. Eventually, I met someone who understood my journey and respected my pace. We took things slow, building a foundation of trust and mutual respect. It was different from my relationship with Emily. It was healthier, more balanced. I realized that while the past had shaped me, it didn't have to define my future. I was capable of love and deserving of happiness. As I sit here writing this, I am filled with a sense of gratitude and peace. My journey has been far from easy, but it has been transformative. I've grown in ways I never imagined, discovering strengths and passions that have redefined who I am. I am no longer the man who was betrayed. I am the man who overcame that betrayal and emerged stronger, wiser, and more resilient. To anyone reading this who is going through a similar experience, know that there is hope. The road to recovery is long and often painful, but it is also filled with opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Surround yourself with supportive people, seek professional help, and most importantly, be patient with yourself. Healing is not linear, but each step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Remember that your worth is not defined by someone else's actions. You have the power to shape your own story, to turn your pain into a source of strength. Embrace the journey, and know that brighter days are ahead. You are not alone, and you are capable of overcoming even the darkest of times. Thank you for taking the time to read my story. It has been cathartic to share it, and I hope it offers some comfort and inspiration to those who need it. Life is full of unexpected twists and turns, but it is also full of beauty and potential. Here's to new beginnings and the endless possibilities that await. Since my last post, my business has flourished beyond my wildest dreams. What started as a small passion project has now grown into a well-known local eatery with a loyal customer base. I've even expanded to offer cooking classes, helping others find joy in the kitchen just like I did. The support from my community has been incredible, and I'm grateful every day for the opportunity to do what I love. On a personal note, I've continued to focus on my health and well-being. Running is still a big part of my life, and I recently completed my first marathon. Crossing that finish line was a moment of triumph, a symbol of how far I've come both physically and emotionally. It reminded me of the strength and resilience I've developed over the past few years. As for my personal life, I'm happy to share that my relationship has grown deeper and more meaningful. We have built a strong foundation based on trust, respect, and open communication. We recently moved in together, and it feels like a new chapter filled with promise and excitement. While I was initially hesitant to open my heart again, I've learned that love is worth the risk, and I'm grateful for the happiness it has brought me. I continue to attend therapy, valuing the space it provides for reflection and growth. It has been instrumental in helping me maintain a healthy mindset and navigate the challenges that life inevitably brings. I've also stayed active in my community, volunteering and giving back whenever I can. Helping others has been a powerful way to stay grounded and connected. Looking back, it's incredible to see how far I've come since discovering Emily's betrayal. What once felt like the end of my world has transformed into a journey of self-discovery and renewal. I've rebuilt my life on a foundation of resilience, passion, and love, and I couldn't be prouder of the person I've become.